Good morning, team. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes while we wait for a couple more people to jump on. Be right back with you. Good morning, folks. I hope you are well. Welcome to Tuesday. What is it? The 23rd. Boy, let's see. We're almost through the first quarter of 2021. Can you imagine that? So, welcome. Glad to have you all here today. Today is all about Win the Buyer. So, definitely going to have a good amount of info regarding, finding buyers, cultivating the leads, qualifying, getting agreements signed, which would be great. Obviously, we want to get representation agreements, and then we'll just kind of recap at the end of the day here. So, I'm going to be giving you a lot of resources today. So, what I like to do is just have like a notes app open on my computer or phone or whatever you're taking notes on, or if you want to write some of this down. I'm going to be giving you some links to some scripts. I'm going to be showing you some things in Command today, things like smart plans, etc., and maybe a few other little things that we can be working on. Okay, so without further ado, I say let's go ahead and get started. So let's see. Good morning, Andrea, Brendan. I see Craig and Haley, Mr. and Miss Ramos. Jennifer's there, Miss C, Ryan, Tiffany. Good morning, all of you. I hope you're well. Hope everybody's safe and healthy. And I'm excited to be with you. I love Ignite. It's one of my favorite classes because it's just chock full of information, and it really covers everything about real estate. So day 7 today, Spark number 7. We have 2 more classes this week for the Spark portion of our course, and then on Tuesday next week, I'll be back with you, and we'll be talking about the Elementals portion, where we'll get a little bit more hands-on in some of the nitty-gritty of selling houses. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I will drop the participant guide right here in the chat for you. If you don't have that already, as a reminder, this is all available to you at kwconnect.com under the KW University, or you can use a search bar to find Ignite 2.0. You do need to search specifically for 2.0. This series is in what's called labs, where they're redoing the entire Ignite program. We have the 1.0 version that really has been static for quite some time. 2.0 it's got a lot of the new models for the new Millionaire Real Estate Agent book version coming out sometime in the next year or so. I say that every year for the past 5 years, but one day it will be here. But also it has a lot of integration with Command and how to use Command side by side. So there's your manual. That's how to get it. I always post them in our social media groups as well, as you know. So hopefully you have that copy. And let's go ahead and get started. Just kind of a reminder of the ground rules. If you have a question, stop, unmute yourself and ask. You can raise your hand. You can drop it in the chat. Whatever works for you works for me. So Love to have you here today. So let's jump into this. We open Ignite every time by talking about what successful agents do. And we always say this: the secret to being a successful real estate agent is there is no secret. Success leaves clues. You'll hear me say often to R&D, something that we may be working on, and R&D is rip off and duplicate. What do we mean by that? Why reinvent the wheel? There are people that are selling thousands of homes with Keller Williams, making millions of dollars in profit per year. Wouldn't you want to just kind of follow the model that already works, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. What we like to do is help you build a solid foundation of business fundamentals, and then allow you to put your riff and your spin on it as a human on this earth, right? You have your own unique talents and abilities. So, creativity is a huge piece of real estate, which is one of the, nice things about being an independent contractor and having your own brand. But you got to build it on a solid foundation. In the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, there's a triangle, and the bottom portion of the triangle that has the base is fundamentals, and then the top portion is creativity. If you flip the triangle upside down, right, and the point is on the bottom, that's going to be a little wobbly if you're just building your career on creativity. So we start with foundations, and then we build on it with creativity. So again, success leaves clues. Let's rip off and duplicate. We know agents do two types of activities every day. They grow their business and they run their business. You hear me say it all the time. You can't run your business without growing your business. Whenever I ask a question, 9 times out of 10, the answer is lead generation, right? We got to find new business. And, I always say it in this way, the level of your success is going to be dictated by the amount of people in your database, the amount of new people you add to your database, and the quality of the relationships with those people. When we talk about smart plans today, you'll see how we're going to use those to continue to foster the relationships. So that said, today we're going to be looking at lead generating for buyers and sellers and talking about database and where buyers come from. And, we'll look at some stats from NAR about how people choose agents, things like that. So a lot of good information here. So let's keep going. All right. So this is find and win the buyer. We're going to go through these couple of topics here: find the buyer, cultivate buyer leads, qualify buyer leads, and then sign the buyer agreement. So let's see here, move a few windows around if I can. Excellent. All right. So here's our first set of statistics. And there's some really great ahas here, okay? The first one is 89% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent, which is pretty good news for you, right? That means the majority of people are using agents. We do have a small handful of people that do for sale by owners. We do have other stats that tell us how much less for sale by owners sell compared to agents, which usually not only includes commissions, but also more profit. So boggles my mind why somebody would want to sell their home by themselves. We don't tend to do our own brain surgeries, right? We don't go in, we use a dentist for professional teeth cleaning. We brush our own teeth, but we don't do the pro stuff. I certainly am not going to do a tooth extraction, right? And if somebody's suing me, I probably am not going to represent myself, right? So we always want to hire professionals, right? And that's you guys. 41% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. Okay, so a little shy of half of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. 75% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. Interesting. 51% of buyers visited an open house as a way to search for homes. Okay, so I have some questions around this, and I want you guys to unmute yourself and answer for me. Looking at these stats, give me some ahas. What are some things that you've learned with some of these statistics right away, or can be learned? What do you think? Remember,
referrals are very important.
Referrals are very important. Yes, absolutely. That's a fact, right? So we know that if it's just shy of half of people find referrals, then we need to be seeking those referrals. And you know what my aha is around that? When we call through our database, what I say is I teach you guys how to use the Ford script and, just do a care call and build a relationship stronger. But when we say call your database, what I know most agents hear right away is call and see who might be a buyer or seller candidate. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. That's the now business. 90% of the people in your database are not looking to move right now, but they do know people that may be looking to move. So we have to build your brand and create the mind share so that you are the agent of choice in their brains when someone says they want to buy or sell, because your connection can refer you business, right? So you have to be seeking those referrals and creating that presence, earning that positioning. So that's a great one. Thank you for that. What else? What else? Give me another aha from these statistics.
I'm going to try to be the first one they talk to.
Oh man, listen to that. That is a huge one as well. That is also one of my big ahas. If 3/4, 75% of buyers interviewed one agent, all that means is you got to be first. You got to get to the door first. You got to find and meet these people before they meet somebody else, right? That's huge. That's huge. Okay. I have one more aha, but you guys tell me, is there anything else that you guys see from the other stats up here? Tell me about the last one.
Open houses are a great way to get referrals.
Yep, that's a good way to meet people. We know half of buyers are going into open houses. Now, here's the thing. When's the last time any of you did an open house?
More than a year ago.
Never.
More than a year, and the majority of you is never, right? The majority of you on here is never have you done an open house. Some of you have been in the business longer than 1 year ago when we were told to stay at home and wear our masks, right? So here's another thing to think about. My other aha with this. We sold more homes last year than we did in 2019. More homes sold during the pandemic than the year before. And if half of the buyers didn't go into open houses, how were they meeting their agents? How were they meeting their agents? Right? That's a big aha for me. To me, that says buyers are looking in different ways, they're meeting agents differently. How are they meeting agents now, would you guys guess? If we can't get into an open house to do a connection that way.
Redfin, Zillow.
Online, by phone.
You guys are right. You guys are right. It's the digital experience. And frankly, this has been happening for years, but the pandemic compressed time and made the process of digital search, online search, happen a lot faster. And I'll tell you what, it's probably not really going to go away. Will people still come visit open houses? Definitely. But all buyers were already viewing property online. That's going to continue. And in fact, it's going to be more and more the norm for buyers to meet agents online. Same with sellers. So my question to you is, what does your online presence look like? Okay. Now I heard things like Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, right? Certainly some of these ad resellers are out there, right? Building their businesses on the backs of our hard-earned dollars when we buy leads. Okay, not to say it doesn't work. Just got to wonder what they're doing with that money, right? They're trying to reduce commissions ultimately. So it makes me think, though, if I don't want to invest into some of those platforms, where else can I be visible digitally in order to earn more buyer activity? Okay, and a couple things, and again, this is not really in the content today, but since this was written prior to there being a global pandemic, right, there's some more ahas we can pull out. By the way, I bet some of these numbers have changed during this last year. So my first question is, what does your social media presence look like? If I go and do a deep dive in your social media, how will I perceive you? What will I see you as, right? Is it, is it a foodie, or is it a, dog mom, dog dad? Is it a loving husband or wife or brother or sister? Or is it a top producing real estate agent, a professional real estate agent, a trustworthy and honest real estate agent, social media is so powerful because you can shape and craft your image about who you are, right? Brendan, I'm going to call you out. You posted a YouTube video where another agent gave you permission to do a quick video there. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I noticed there's really two players in the field on YouTube, Eric Conover and Inez Yilmazer. They're the big guys on YouTube doing property tours, and I was like, you know what? No one's really covering the luxury but not super luxury homes, you know, and so I can target those. So I just hopped on the MLS and I started cold calling a bunch of listing agents, and eventually got the first yes, put out the first video, and now I've already shot 2 more videos that are going to be coming out the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. And tell me about the first one. Like, how many views have you gotten on the video? And second question is, have you run any ads?
The first one, I didn't expect to go viral. It was kind of choppy to begin with. Like, my narration is it gets better and better with each video. Yep. So it was more just to kind of get the practice and put myself out there. So, I mean, I think the views are like 100 views or something like that. It's not much. It's a good place to start for sure. And then I haven't run any ads on it yet, just because I don't have the capital at the moment, but I'm working on it. And then once I do, I will be running some ads on it.
Awesome. Did you, so somebody shot that video for you? Did you have to pay any money to get that video shot, or what did that look like?
No, so I use my own connections that I made through college. I have a lot of friends in the film industry, and one of them is looking to work on his portfolio for real estate videography, and he wanted to come help me out. So I have him helping me there, and then I have a friend that's working on his portfolio for real estate editing. So he's doing all the editing for me, and now all I have to do is just coordinate the times to show up and all that.
So you're telling me it was free?
Yep.
All right. I love it. I love it. So crafty, great idea. So, we're using online, we're using presence. YouTube is, I would consider it a social media platform, just like Facebook and YouTube for the most part. You're just creating different types of connections, and it can be very powerful. So there you go, right? And it was very well done, and it shows that you're a professional. And even though it wasn't your listing, you're not necessarily trying to make it look like your listing. You're just giving value about real estate out there, which is great. So, that's a question I think you guys all need to take to heart, right? If 51% of buyers looked at an open house, well, we know basically in the past year that was 0%. So what are you doing to be where the buyers are? Okay, because they're in your database and they're outside your database. Online is going to be huge. So social media, running ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google pay-per-click, these are all powerful tools that you guys all have access to. You may have a little bit of a learning curve, but that's okay. And let me ask one more question, Brendan. Were you comfortable in front of the camera? Or did you feel a little awkward?
Definitely not for the first time. We just shot the third one yesterday, and I felt more comfortable then.
Yep.
But the first one, definitely not. The second one was a little bit better. Third one was a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, takes time, right? And so, many of you are not comfortable on video, and that's okay. I'll tell you, when I started teaching, I wasn't comfortable standing up in front of a class, right? Or shifting to a new platform through Zoom, right? So it just takes time and practice. Know that you're going to screw up, and then you do it anyways. And frankly, the raw, kind of mistakes, that makes you a human, right? And I think that people can, jump on board and respect that a little bit more. So anyways, thanks for participating with that. I see he dropped the YouTube video in the link, so give him a follow and go check the video out and see what he's doing to create some online presence. And then ask yourself, what is your strategy meeting buyers where they're at? Okay. So that was definitely an aha for me when I looked at some of these statistics. So that's just a quick overview on where are the buyers, right? So let me see if there's any other little. No, I think we can move on. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about cultivating. So once you've had a conversation with a potential lead, we need to cultivate that lead. And this is where Command is going to really shine and help you. Okay. So we'll take a quick look at our lead gen model to see where cultivation falls in the process. So, you know, KW, we're all about the models. This is the lead gen model. So at the top of our funnel, right, is prospecting and marketing. This is where we generate new people into the database. Prospecting is our outbound, calling, doors, etc., where we use our time to meet new people. Marketing is more of an inbound lead gen method where we use our dollars to create inbound.
Hey guys, welcome to our first YouTube video. My name is Brendan Spanauer, and we have this awesome modern property here in Huntington Beach, California.
All right, Rose, you can watch that later. Pay attention in class. Just kidding. All right, let's keep going, guys. So we have our model, our funnel captured. So after prospecting marketing, we capture them into the database, and we basically have two different categories of people. We have leads and we have contacts, right? And leads are people that we're keeping track of, we're offering value, and we have a one-way line of communication. One way means we are going out and outbound communicating with people, trying to get them to respond to us so we can create a connection and turn them into a contact. That's where the contact is now a two-way communication. You now have permission to go back and forth with this person, and you're engaging, and you begin the cultivation process, okay? So cultivating is interactive. You guys are having a two-way communication, like I said, and it's action-based with touch programs. These would be things like smart plans on command. And as we nurture, we will then qualify, and then we move them through the rest of the sales funnel, which is booking an appointment, turning them into a client, active, right? Client active means they've become a client. They've signed an agreement with you, and then we get them under contract, opening escrow, and then we close that transaction. Okay, so that is our overview here of the cultivation process. So we're going to jump into command in a little bit, and I'll show you how to get people set up on some of these smart plans. Everyone that you ever have a conversation with can be added to a smart plan, by the way. And frankly, everyone that you ever contact should be added to a smart plan. You just have to listen for their needs and find the smart plan that is appropriate for where they are in the process, okay? And this is where we think about having our database segmented into different categories and tags, so we can be having conversations that are relevant, right? We want relevant conversations to the client. So if you have a buyer lead, you're not going to put them on a seller drip, obviously, right? So we need to find the appropriate smart plans. And I'll show you how we can jump in and find smart plans like this. So once we have this conversation with somebody and we get that two-way, they become a contact, that should trigger a series of events that will get you into a relationship with the contact and help cultivate an appointment. And the tasks are going to be ranging from things like text messages to calls, emails, and then hopefully, engaging them on social media as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at command. So we're going to do a little real play here. So ideally, if you have a web browser open and you're able to get into command, I want you guys to follow along if you're able to, okay? Because I'd like for you guys to make sure that you at least have yourself added into command. You should all have yourself added into command. I think I asked you all to do that last week. So let me do a new screen share. Let's take a look at command real quick. And here we go. So again, like I said, you all should have added yourself into the database. Where should you add yourself? Well, if I click on KW, it opens the menu here, and we have contacts. Once I open contacts, I'm going to add myself. There's a little button up here, add contact, okay? I click add, I type in my name. I'm not gonna save this because I'm already in here, but I'm just showing you what to do. I will put in my email. I will put in my phone number. Oops. And then one thing I recommend is either put a source or figure out like what you can assign them to, right? So if it's a buyer, you maybe put yourself as a buyer, or somebody got from Circle Prospecting. I'll just say I'm a buyer. I'm going to say not a lead. Let's just say this is a two-way communication. I'm not going to put them in my sales pipeline because I haven't sold them a house yet. We're not, we haven't booked an appointment. At the bottom here, add more information. Very important. Ideally, you're going to add additional contact information, and at a minimum, you would add their home address. Okay, you would add their address. When you add the address, it assigns them to a neighborhood, the area in which they live. And that's going to be important, as you see in future Ignite classes, when we talk about the biweekly neighborhood alerts, or where they want to live, or other areas that they may be interested in. Okay, so that's your first goal. Make sure you add yourself as a contact. Now let's take a look at smart plans. So I'm going to go ahead and open my little KW menu again, and I'm going to go right here to smart plans. And let's see how this works. All right. You can see at the very top, there's my smart plans, and then there's the library. So my smart plans are smart plans that you have added into your command, that you have access to, that you can now assign people to. Okay, so you can see I have 5 smart plans that I've added into my quote unquote library, my personal library, not the KW International library. Okay, and you can see, look, contacts, I have 1 person that is on this specific smart plan. So as you build this out, you'll be able to see what's going on with how many people you have assigned, and Command will tell you the health score of your database, how many people are in it, how many people are getting drip campaigns, and so on. So when you first open Command, this is all going to be blank. It's all going to be empty because you won't have assigned any smart plans yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the library and you're going to start adding smart plans. Now take a look here. There are 4, 8. There's basically, I should say it this way. There's 4 right here at the top. Okay. And there's a couple little dots to give me another 4, and then another 2. So promote my app, home anniversary, open house follow-up, monthly neighborhood nurture, birthday, long-term nurture, and then bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, and the other couple here, okay? These are the ones that are created by Keller Williams International, okay? So our company created some very generic, basic smart plans that you can assign yourself right away. So at a bare minimum, folks, add this one. Add the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. You can view the steps. This is all it is. Send an email, wait 14 days, and repeat, unlimited. So this basically is going to send your clients an HTML email, which is just a graphical email of properties in the neighborhoods they have assigned, and a link that goes back to your agents or your clients' custom websites that Command automatically creates for you. You don't have to do anything to make the sites, okay? And then it just does that every 2 weeks forever until you take them off. It's really, really simple, okay? So you just say add smart plan. You can rename it if you want. You can call it mine. You can put your name on it. And then you click the download button, okay? Mine, I already have one labeled this, so I'm not going to download it again. But once you download it, you go back into my smart plans, and there it will be, right? So mine is right here, my bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. Cool, right? Easy. Now let's just look at smart plans a little bit more. But first, does anyone have any questions about what we just looked at? Does anyone have any questions about how to use smart plans, how to get there, how to add your own into your smart plans?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my database is really young, and a lot of them are going to grad school soon. Some people have already told me that they don't know anyone that's looking to buy, but they would be looking to rent. Is there any way to add them to a smart plan that sends them rentals instead of purchases?
That's a good question. Let me get back to that. The answer is right now it's definitely maybe. So
Okay.
for sure you can do it in the MLS. Okay, so for sure you can do it in the MLS. But let's find out. We'll find out in a second. So before we
Cool.
leave smart plans, I just want to show you more about library here. So Brendan, for someone like that, right? I might just look here. There's a search bar. Okay, I'm just gonna look at invest. Let's just see if anything comes up. Investor campaign, investor smart plan, duplex, 10-day investor, millionaire real estate investor. I put these on. I wanted to search for this because, if you have a group of people that don't own real estate, maybe you put them on an investing smart plan. So they start understanding, what's important about investing. Let's see what's in here. Simple email, meaning it's thanks for getting my home search investor form on Facebook. So this one is for a Facebook ad, okay? And by the way, you can go in here and edit all this. Send them a text, delay, send another text, a delay, and so on and so forth. So maybe this isn't the perfect one, but that might be one to put them on. How about this? Let's look for this. Let's do first time home buyer. Look at that. First time home buyer education, first time home buyer bi-weekly email. So these would be good little smart plans to add to people that are looking to rent now, but may want to, they ultimately all should want to buy at some point. So I would add them to this for sure. By the way, you can have people on multiple smart plans. Okay. So you can send them a couple of different smart plans. These folks, look, Catherine Gledhill, Antoine Holmes, Laura Pozzi. These are real estate agents all across the country that are creating their own custom smart plans and then sharing them with you guys so that you can use them. That's pretty cool, right? So there are hundreds of these smart plans in here that you guys can have access to and modify and tweak to your heart's content. I'm just gonna look up Facebook real quick. New Facebook lead, new paid ad, Facebook ad follow-up. So people have created a bunch of these Facebook ad campaigns from running ads, right? Nick Baldwin has one in here. And people rate them. Look, people have rated them like 5 stars. This one, 3.5 stars. So maybe not using that one, right? But anyway, so you can see that there are a ton of different smart plans in here. You can go, look at the different categories. You can sort them. You can filter. You can search by name. You can search by author. Sometimes on some of our Keller Williams social media Facebook groups, people will say, find all my smart plans by searching for my name. And that's where you can find them. So anyways, I wanted to show you how many different smart plans are on there. So think about like 3 or 4 that you want to add into your database right away. Let's look at, let's see if there's a 36 touch in here. 36 touch campaign for sellers, 36 touch annual. Look, this one's in Spanish. Maui 36 touch. So there's a couple in there that you can use. 36 touch would be like 36 touches a year to earn the mind share of your clients. Okay. All right. Anyone have questions about smart plans before I move on? Any more questions? Okay, let's keep going. So now, how do I add somebody to a smart plan? I'm going to go back, open my menu. I'm going to go back to contacts. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go find the contact I want to add to a smart plan. And I'm just going to pull me up, right? Just sort, we're using this as a test. So I'm going to look me. And on the top right is, right, we have smart plans, opportunities, etc. If I click on the smart plans, there's a link to add to a smart plan. And now I'll see all the smart plans I have put into my smart plans and I can add them. So my biweekly neighborhood alert is the one I would add them to because that's the easiest one. It's twice a month. It just sends them a bunch of properties and a link to the neighborhoods they're most interested in. So I just hit select and it's going to ask me, when do I want to start the smart plan? And I hit confirm and it'll add me. Now I'm already added to this, so I'm not going to do it again, but that's it. Once I click confirm, boom, done. Okay. By the way, within Command, you can purchase a vanity phone number, and you can send text messages automatically as part of your smart plans. In fact, if you're going to run any sort of social media ads, I highly recommend that you have the text feature enabled, because people are going to respond more to texts than they will to emails. Okay. So that's how to add to a smart plan. Now, what do they see? Well, on the left here, actually, before I go to that, look at the timeline. The timeline is what Command does for you. It tracks all the activities that happen in the in this contact record. Okay, so you can see a bunch of emails were sent out. You can see that there was a phone call made to follow up. You can see this person subscribed to another neighborhood, Old Lakewood City. A couple of errors there, so I wonder what happened there. But anyway, so look, viewed listing, viewed listing, viewed listing. When your clients click on listings that they're interested in within Command, Command records that. And so you'll be able to know what they're looking at and go back and maybe ask some questions about, hey, I saw you were checking out Main Street. Is that something you want to go take a look at, right? So pretty powerful there. So what do they see? Well, basically, they're going to get an email, and it's going to look, let's see if this opens. I haven't opened this before. Everybody close your eyes. I think it's going to try to open my email is what it's actually going to do here. So yeah, it is. So let's see if it's actually going to go find that email. Okay, so that's not going to work. But what it is, it's just a simple email that you get, and it shows a bunch of properties, and then it gives them a link to the, like I said, your client's personal website, which we looked at last week. And this is what they'll see. And they can pick whatever neighborhoods they've assigned themselves to. They can view those properties, take a look, right? I'm gonna look at this one on whatever listing this one was, Palo Verde, right? And so this is just what they see. This is their neighborhood, their home, and they can peruse whatever they want, okay? So that's basically what they'll get on a bi-weekly basis, and a link to their site. Now, one other thing that I think is newer since they wrote Ignite is the ability to create saved searches for a client. So Brendan, this is where we're going to see if we can send rentals. So let's say I want to create a new search. And what this does is it sends out listings in real time, basically. As new listings come available, they will get a new search. Let's see. Let's see. Search by neighborhood, price, keyword, property type. Let's see if there's a rental here. Foreclosure, short sale. Nope, I don't see rental. For sale. Nope. Square feet. Okay, well, I think we just answered the question. So it does not look like there are rentals available when you create a new search. So you probably want to use the MLS for that. But hey, at least we know. And then again, with that said, this is just one more thing that you can set up to where you can send out new listings. So I have one set up myself for Naples. I get this whenever new properties come up in the MLS. It syncs to Command, pushes it out, boom, it goes right into my email. Okay, I'm sure a texting feature will be added to that very, very shortly. All right. Any questions? That was a lot. We looked at Command, we looked at smart plans, we looked at saved searches, neighborhoods. Anyone have any questions about this before I move on? All righty. Let's keep going, folks. All righty, we are back. Let me get to my notes here. Cool. All right. So again, a lot of great information there. A lot of great stuff that you can have access to and begin using today, folks. I mean, this is stuff that is available right this second with your KW logins. So let's look at the next part of this, which is qualify buyer leads. And, typically we're going to have A, B, and C type clients. A is able, ready, and willing. B is able and ready, but not right now. And then C is just simply not ready. And this was a big aha for me, actually, when I got into real estate. Because I started wondering, do I really have a client or not? And so I started thinking about the words ready, willing, and able. And I basically use that as a test to determine whether I have a client or what we would call either a prospect or a suspect, right? So this is the way I look at it. Ready, willing, and able. Those words mean a lot to me. Ready means, are they ready to move? Buyer or seller? This is for anybody that is going to have a real estate event, a buyer, a seller, an investor, a renter, whatever it is. Are they ready? Have they mentally decided to move? Because moving, show of hands, who loves to move? Anybody? I kind of do like moving, but the actual process of moving, let's be honest, pain in the ass, right? As I look around my home and think about all the stuff I'd have to pack up and get trucks and move, I remember moving in here and how much energy I had to expend, and it was a lot of work, okay? So that is a big process. Sometimes I think about sellers I used to prospect to, and I would go to their home and, drop a CMA off at their door. I used to do a lot of online seller ads. And I would go to, grandma's house, and I would see how much stuff they had and how attached they were to the home, and that they didn't really want to move, but they knew the place was too big. And in my mind, I knew that they just weren't ready because there were so many things that needed to happen before they could actually list their property. So they weren't like my A category because they weren't ready yet, right? They weren't either mentally prepared or far enough down the process of doing the work needed to get ready to list, that they just weren't ready. Well, that's fine, right? That's why we use this test. So ready is that. Willing is where I think most people get stuck with their clients. Willing to me means, has your client done what you've asked of them? Are they doing what you ask? So willing is things like this. Will they book an appointment with you? Will they get pre-approved? Will they go look at houses? Will they write offers? Will they write good offers in this competitive market, meaning overbid, pay a little more over the appraised value, come in with a bigger deposit, right? Shorter escrow timeframes, right? Those are things that are the willing. And many times we get stuck because we think we have a buyer, and then we realize that they're not willing to go look at houses. And then all of a sudden we realize, I guess I didn't have a buyer after all. I just have somebody that's a contact that still needs some nurturing, okay? So think about that. Are they doing what you ask? Are they following the plan you lay out in front of them? And then able is simple. Can they afford to do what it is that they want to do? For a buyer, pre-approved. For a seller, pre-approved and netting enough cash to do whatever they want to do next if they're going to buy another property, right? So those are the three categories, and those are that's the way I think of this client test, ready, willing, and able. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, next, buyer lead sheet. I want to remind you all that I have given you a link with a bunch of scripts in it, and I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. Ladies and gentlemen, copy and paste, okay? Grab this link and save it as a bookmark because you're going to refer to it relatively often. And what I'd like to do is go take a look of what's in there. By the way, just type it exactly as it is into the URL bar for your web browser. You do not need to add www, you don't need to add .com. Do exactly what I just did, okay? So I'm gonna go back to Chrome where I have typed that in. I'll do it again, bit.ly/Nick Scripts. Easy to remember. There are 5 folders here, okay? The first 4 are what you're really looking at. Ignite scripts. So we're in Ignite, we're in Ignite Spark, and if I open this, it's going to give me scripts, and some of the scripts in here are going to be things like the buyer lead sheet. So somewhere in here should be that buyer lead sheet. If it's not in here, it's in the Elemental script, okay? But I wanted to show you today the script that I use. So if I go back to the scripts folder, I can get in here and take a look at KW scripts. And the one I want to have you guys really pay attention to is this one, buyer consultation. So I wrote this one up. It's a Word doc, you can edit it, but I wrote this one up to make it really easy for you guys to have conversations with your buyers. So when we talk about a lead sheet, what we're talking about is taking down their information, but more importantly is the qualification process that you have with the client, okay? This is what I do. I print this out, I sit in front of the client, or I do it over Zoom, whatever way I'm going to interact. And I basically just go through all the steps here. And I'm going to let you all really review some of this. I know some of you on the call, we've talked about this recently in depth, but this is so important in the market right now because it's so hard to get a buyer's offer accepted because of the competition. There's 20, 30 offers on every listing. And so we really need to have clarity around this client and make sure that we know what they're looking for and that we can provide it to them. And also start thinking about where they might be flexible and make sure we set up the proper expectations about what's happening in the market. So at the beginning, it does talk about setting expectations where you just give your value proposition, ask them to tell you a little bit about themselves, get to know them, build the relationship, and then we explore. Explore is just asking questions about what they want. Many of you know the first question I always ask, what's important to you about owning real estate? Not about moving, but why do you want to invest into the market and become a property owner? Describe your home. Tell me more about that. There's a section in the middle here. I won't go too deep into it, but it's called bridging. It's where you take a feature and turn it into a benefit. And the reason I put this in here is because you can't necessarily always sell a feature, but you can sell a benefit. For instance, a big backyard, right? That's a feature, but you need to know why somebody wants a big backyard. Some people want a garden. Some people want to have barbecues. Let's say it's barbecues. That's the benefit. Having a big backyard means having family over for barbecues. And then you find out they can only afford a condo. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, that means maybe you go find the common area of the condo that happens to have a little barbecue grill built in and a picnic table, and you can sell that, the benefit. There's still outdoor space to grill and bring the family over. That's features and benefits. We have readiness to buy, scale of 1 to 10. 10, your bags are packed. 1, you ain't going anywhere. How would you rate yourself? Market and expectations. Probably the most important part right here, number 6. What do you think about the real estate market? Thank you for sharing. Can I tell you what I see happening in the market? And then you lay it on them, not to scare people, but just to let them know, hey, here's what the reality is. Here's what's happening, right? We have, and there's a whole bunch of things here that don't apply, like short sales, foreclosures. That's not happening. But overbidding, multiple offers, definitely. Slow response times, no repairs. They're going to have to write a lot of offers. So you need to know what's going on in the market. If you don't, give me a ring and we'll talk about it, right? And then we have steps to a sale, which is just the process of helping somebody buy a home. I know many of you think, gosh, I don't know how to sell a house yet. How can I explain it to them? Well, remember, guys, you know more than they do. And really, selling a home is pretty simple. You get pre-approved, you start shopping, you make an offer, you get your offer accepted, right? Then you inspect it, you appraise it, you get your loan financed or funded, and you close. Those are the general steps. I think most of you have a kind of a general idea about that. And that's all you need to know. I mean, there's a lot of nuances along the way, of course, but that's about as much as you really need to know at this point, okay? Because otherwise you're just going to overwhelm them. And then lastly, lender. That's where we push them off to get pre-approved, okay? So you guys have that now. It's right in the folder, ready to rock and roll for you today. All right, any questions there? While I go back to our slideshow. All right, let's keep going. So the next part of this is the buyer's agreement. Okay, so the buyer's representation agreement. Should we do a buyer contract? Age-old question for real estate agents. My answer, yes. We should definitely be doing buyer's agreements. Why? Because it's not so that you lock your buyer in. A lot of people will think that, oh, I don't want to, force my buyer to have to work with me. Now, whatever. We force our sellers to have to work with us. I don't know why we wouldn't do that with a buyer. But really in the buyer's agreements, what it does is it defines what our scope of work is. It says what you're going to do for your client, what you can't do for your client, and what you expect the client to do for you. Okay. And if you're concerned about any sort of commitment, there are buyer agreements that do not have any sort of compensation. Okay. So there's a 3-step process. It's real simple. Ask for the business. When will you be ready to buy? Ask for the appointment. Does tomorrow at 3 or Friday at 1 work for you? By the way, that's an option close, right? Tomorrow at 3, Friday at 1. It's 2 different options as opposed to saying, would you like to meet? Because the answer will be no to that. You never want to ask yes or no questions when you're, I shouldn't say you never. Yes or no questions are designed for closing, in my opinion. But this option close removes the no from the equation. Okay, so that way it gives you 2 choices. And then we talk about financing, right? So getting them pre-approved with a lender, it's non-negotiable. In this market, you're going to have buyers from time to time say, oh, don't worry about it. I can afford it. I'm good. I got great credit. I got tons of money in the bank. Great. We still need a pre-approval letter, right? In fact, in COVID, many people won't even allow you to show the property without showing proof of funds or what have you. All right. So I have a question in the chat. How to engage a buyer who already has an agent? So here's a couple of responses to that, okay? Number one is, what does have an agent actually mean? And in my experience, it usually just means they've been working with somebody, maybe they've shown a few properties, but in most cases, the buyers have not signed any sort of an agreement, okay? And so what I recommend is just come from contribution and give them value. Just say, hey, great. I hope that works out. If you need any, resources, or if you have any questions about anything that you see, please don't hesitate to reach out. By the way, and then forward them, give them some information. Forward them some info about the market, about what it takes to get an offer accepted in this market. I promise you guys and gals, we are having at our offices more conversations about getting offers accepted in this market than pretty much any other company out there, okay? Because the level of training is just accelerated with our company, okay? So with that said, you guys are hearing the conversations about getting offers accepted through these classes that you can give to your buyers and tell them, understanding the expectations, understanding what, escalation clauses are, and appraisal, shortfalls have to do with things, right? So you're hearing more about this than any other agents are out there. So you're far more qualified to give that value back to people. So that's what I would do, is find out if they actually have an agreement. If yes, good luck. If they do not, give value and let them decide if they want to come back to you. Okay, so you can still earn that business potentially. Let's see. As I mentioned, without an agreement, your buyer is not necessarily your client. They can still buy a home with another agent. So you do want to think about that. Just like a listing, we're not going to take a listing without a contract signed. All right, let's see here. I'm going to give you another little tool here that is going to, give me 1 second. Get back into my web browser. I'm going to give you a link to some of our contract classes so that you can watch the video about buyer's agreements. So let me get that for you. 1 second. Okay. I am posting this in the chat. This is a link to our YouTube, one of our YouTube channels for our recorded contracts classes. Okay. Let me make sure that that one is in there. course, that one's not uploaded yet. That's okay. So you guys have the link. I will make sure today that we get that class uploaded here. But basically, we have 10 of our contract classes. There's got to be more here. So, anyways, if I just can't see it because I'm moving too many windows around, I will make sure. No, it looks like there are 10. So, anyways, how to write offers. Offer templates is where you want to get started. There's other reviews of different contract classes, but I'll make sure the buyer agreement class is uploaded so you guys have a chance to review that as well. Then you can see where I explain over the course of an hour the different types of buyer representation agreements and what they mean. So you can explain them to your clients in an effective way so that they're not freaked out about signing them and you're not, freaking them out by not explaining it properly. Okay. All right, folks. I haven't had you look at your manuals today, but in the very last page of your manual are places to write your ahas. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is go to that page in your manual and write down, like I said, what are your ahas for the day? And you know the format. We have a few different categories here. How has your thinking changed? What was meaningful for you today? Let me pull it up on the slide here. There we go. Hopefully you guys can all see that. So write down your answers to these questions. So first, I want you to write down, how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? Number 2, what do you feel differently about? What was meaningful to you today? Number 3 is, how will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions, right? It's all about action. What actions will you take going forward? And then lastly, tools, models, or systems. What will you definitely use and how will they make you accountable? So ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you to take a couple of minutes and write down at least one answer in every category. And then you know how we do it. I'm going to ask for each of you to give me a response. Take 2 minutes to go and do that now, and then we will be done for the day, folks. All right. I think that is enough time. Let us go ahead and answer. So who's got an answer for number 1? How has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? Don't all speak at once. Just need one of you to participate in each of these today.
I'll start, Nick. I've learned that although it's all buyers realize it's a necessary process to have a real estate agent, they're kind of waiting for you. They're not doing a lot of research and networking to find an agent. So that speaks to opportunity.
100% opportunity. You're absolutely right. There's not a ton of people proactively, right, going out. So the odds are in your favor, folks. Just be first. Keep talking to people, build relationships, and they need your help, frankly, right? There's a lack of education in this business around how to buy houses and protecting clients. We're not just order takers here going out and showing houses. We're fiduciaries. So when you bring that level of value, people are going to constantly be referring you business. It's great feedback, Craig. Thank you. Secondly, what do you feel differently about? What was meaningful to you today? Who wants to chime in on that one?
I think the ABC buyers do, because
some of my buyers, they are absolutely, they are ready and willing, but when they actually go shopping and go looking, I don't think they're able at the moment.
Right. Okay. So the finances may be a bit lacking or what have you.
Yeah,
Yep.
in
Yep.
the down payment part and stuff, because so many people are doing like cash offers and stuff like that, that it makes them a little bit behind in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably one of the most unfortunate parts, unfortunate, outcomes of our current market is it's so competitive that people that can have great loans, FHA, VA, or 3 or 5% conventional, like great loan products that should have no problem closing, just don't have the pull because the appraisals, the values are going up so fast. Sellers want to know, well, if you're going to bid so high, how are you going to pay the difference? And it's really unfortunate, but it's also a reality. And so you guys need to think about how are you going to navigate your business, keeping that information in mind. Okay, thank you for that, Tiffany. Number 3 is, how will your behaviors be different going forward? Meaning, what actions will you take? Who's got something for me for that?
Well, for me, definitely running social media ads, since I'm trying to build up my social media presence as well.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Excellent. You're going to hear us continually talk about social media advertising, whether it is YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, Google, pay-per-click. It's where people are. People have gotten so much more time to be online. And that's why the numbers tell us from Google, in fact, that at least 50% of consumers are open to trying new vendors or new brands across almost every single category, whether it's retail, real estate, other services. And so if that's the case and they're researching, they need to have a way to find you. And, for strangers that you haven't met yet, running these paid ads can be great. One of our agents is starting running Facebook ads. And one of the ads was generating leads that were filling out the Facebook form for just over $1, $1, like $1.16 per lead, I think is what she had gotten. So it's not like it's incredibly expensive. You don't have to throw a ton of money at it to start really filling your pipeline on a monthly basis. So that's great. Thanks, Brendan. Okay, last question and we're done. What tools, models, systems will you definitely use? Who's got something for me?
Smart plans.
Boom, there it is, right? You guys, you can always just say command to that one too, right? Command and smart plans. To cap that part off, thank you, Craig. Every person in command, every person in your database must be on a smart plan of some sort. And they must have a scheduled call, whether it's a week, a month, 3 months down the road. You have to know when you're going to contact them again by purposeful outreach, picking up the phone or a text. And they have to be getting messages from you over email and potentially text message as well, so that they see you and real estate intertwined. And that's how you build the mind share and position yourself as the real estate resource that they need in their lives. Okay. So yes, get them on smart plans, make sure calls are scheduled with everybody. Okay. All right, folks. I hope you got some value today. We talked about where buyers are. We talked about some of the scripting around qualifying. We looked at command and how to get people set up on the smart plans. We talked about buyer's agreements, and we'll have that resource in our YouTube video shortly. I will leave it at that, folks. I appreciate you all. We'll be back Thursday, 10 a.m. I believe it's Find and Win the Seller. So we'll take a look at the other side of this with Mr. Eddie Habash from our Cerritos office, and I will see you all then. I hope you have a wonderful morning. Make sure you start doing some lead generating now. Okay. Your day is not over. All right. See you soon. Hope you're well.
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Nick.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.